What's going on, everyone? My name's Slender, and I have a great video for you guys today. So we're going to talk about Scourge stones, how to get them, what they're used for, and pretty much how to get a Scourge stone factory going. There's kind of like two different methods, and I'll leave it up to you to decide which one you guys want to use. Let's go. All right, so first, let's take a look at what these are actually used for. The Holy Resistance Potion, which is going to be pretty important, late game. And also, since it's required for this, it's also going to be required for the Holy Resistance Flask, the major Holy Potion. The Dark Silver Ingot, it's going to require 1 Scourgestone per ingot. And you're going to use these ingots for, a lot of stuff. So the Dark Silver Ingot's used to make, obviously the Dark Silver weapons. And these weapons are required to make the, the upgraded tier, the Sanguine set of weapons. So like, for example, the Sanguine sword requires a Dark Silver sword. That Dark Silver sword requires 12 Dark Silver ingots. So once again, Scourge stones are going to be super important for high tier weapons. And the Scourge stones are used for the really cool, late game standing lights. Actually, these are some of them that require Scourgestone, the ones behind my seat, the throne. And then there's also these ones over here. There, right there. So all 3 of these styles require Scourgestones. And you can see them right here. The Balefire Brazier, the Cabal Braziers, and the Gothica Braziers. And they look really, really cool. You're also going to need them for the anvil, which is used to make all the high tier weapons. You don't actually need the Scourgestone, but you do need the Dark Silver, which requires Scourgestone. Also the Athenium, and that's used to uncover high-end or high-tier recipes. So you're going to need 2 of them for that. Also a very important piece of the game, when it comes to PvP and taking over other people's castles, are the castle keys. And they require a bunch of Scourgestone and gem dust. And another really important recipe that you're going to need Scourgestones for are the different necklaces and amulets in the game that give you a bunch of spell power and, a bunch of great stats. For example, the Blood Key requires 28 Dark Silver ingots, which is all Scourgestone. And then there's also this guy, the Misty Necklace, and all these other ones require 8 Scourgestone. And then lastly, the Siege Golem requires it too. So as you can see, you're going to need Scourgestone, and you're going to need lots of it. So here's how you can make it. So for the first method of making Scourgestone, the crafting or the assembly line, if you will, you're going to have to unlock the Whetstones, the Scourgestones, and glass before you can actually start crafting that. So for the Whetstone, you're going to need to find Grayson the Armorer. He actually gives you the Whetstone, and he's located at the Bandit Armory, which is kind of northwest of the Farbane Woods, in the Farbane Woods. So Grayson the Armorer. You're also going to need to unlock the glass, and you're going to do that by finding Christina, the Sun Priestess. And she is located to the east in Dunley Farmlands at, where is she? Yeah, right there at Dawnbreak Village, over by Beatrice the Tailor. And you're also going to have to unlock the Scourgestone itself, and that's by finding and defeating Leandra, the Shadow Priestess. And she's up at the very top of Dunley Farmlands, right before you head over to this area. Leandra, the Shadow Priestess, at Church of the Damned. So, if you want to go with the crafting route, which is probably going to be the, I don't know, I would say this is going to be more of a consistent method for getting Scourgestone, but it's going to take some preparation, it's going to take some planning, and it's going to be efficient, but it's going to take a lot of work. And to get this going, you're going to want at least a couple different furnaces so that you can have each one, making something else. Because Scourgestone is quite a process when you're crafting it. So you're going to need to start with copper for the copper ingots. Then you're going to want to get some stone dust from the grinder. And I'm sure if you've made your castle, you've got a bunch of stone dust somewhere because, it's a byproduct of making the stone bricks in the grinder. So you're going to need copper, you're going to need stone, and that's going to make your whetstones. And then you're going to take that whetstone, you're going to add glass to it, which is just quartz. And you're also going to need grave dust, which you get from bones in the grinder. I'm going to show you that right now. So here's your grinder, and this is where you're going to get your grave dust and your stone dust, both. So stone will turn into stone dust, bones will turn into grave dust. And that's where you're going to get both of those. So you might want to set up a couple different grinders as well. So I'm just going to make some stone dust really quick. I'm just going to throw some stone in here that I grabbed. And there's your stone dust, and you're going to get stone bricks as well. And then I grabbed some bone, so I'm going to throw the bone in here too. And it's going to make me my grave dust. So I'm actually going to go ahead and cancel this and have it make some grave dust for us. Okay, so now that we have our grave dust, our stone dust, now we're ready to go make our whetstones. So again, the whetstones is just stone dust and copper ingots. So I would probably set up a furnace just for making, you know, a bunch of whetstones. And you should have something like this when you're done. Just a bunch of them, you know, just stockpile this stuff. Now, if you want to know how to get a bunch of bones so that you can have all the grave dust you need, check out my bone farm video. It's really, really easy to set up. So now that we have our whetstones, and we have our grave dust, so we've got our whetstones and our grave dust. That's going to take care of two of the items. Now we're going to need glass. So for glass, you're just going to want to farm a bunch of quartz. So to find quartz, you just go to the V-Rising map. You're going to click Hide All, and you're going to scroll down to quartz right here. And this is going to show you all the different quartz locations. There's really only like 3 good ones. And they're all going to be up around the Dunley farmlands. So here's a spot right here. And then you've got another spot over here. And I'll actually show you guys the areas. So Mosswick Village, Dunley Monastery, and Dawnbreak Village. It's super, super easy to spot. It just looks like giant things of quartz. I mean, it's really easy to find. Just smash it, bring them back to your castle, and start turning it into glass. Now, another thing that you can do is just go to your castle throne, and there's going to be missions that will give you a bunch of... actually, you can save time and just get straight glass. Let me see. There we go. So Dunley Monastery, if you send them on a mission, you can actually get quartz and glass in the same shot. So what you would do is you just click on it. You need to find somebody that's pretty, you know, high level, like Big Boy over here. And with a 23-hour mission, he will bring back 660 quartz and some glass. So, you know, you're ideally going to want to be doing all this stuff at once. So always have your guys on missions and, you know, go out there and farm it. Farming it, you know, doesn't take too long. You know, just load up your bags and bring it back home. Now, for me, glass is one of those things I keep in my vampire lockbox because it, you know, it takes a lot of quartz to make glass. It takes time. So it's a pretty, you know, pretty valuable commodity for me. All right, so once you have your quartz, you just literally throw it in the furnace and bam, you've got your glass. Super easy. Like I said, it just takes a lot of quartz, you know, 15 per piece of glass. So this stuff is pretty valuable. Okay, so once you have all your grave dust from all the bones, and you have all your whetstones from the stone dust and the copper ingots, you just throw the glass in there and you will start producing Scourgestone. Like I said, this is a pretty long way to do it, but once you start getting a, you know, a rhythm and a system going, it's going to be nonstop. And it's actually very, very satisfying when you come back and you see like a stack of 100 Scourgestone. It feels good. It feels like you accomplished something. And they look so cool too. So that is method 1. Method 2 is the quicker way, but you know, which way you guys want to use, again, that's up to you. Oh, and one more thing before we go to the next method, make sure you always have the confined room and the matching floor bonus. It is going to help a ton. It's going to save you time and it's going to save you a bunch of resources. So do not skip this. Make sure you have the matching floor. And to find out which matching or which floor you need, you just click on the actual thing and you highlight it and it will tell you you need a forge floor. So to find the forge floor, you just go into your castle, you go to floors, and where is it? Right there, forge flooring, and you have 2 different options you can use. Now, this is my favorite way to make Scourgestone, and that is using your tomb factory. Is what I like to call it. So this is actually the really easy way. It's gonna, you're gonna be able to skip a lot of steps. The only thing that's gonna make like a bottleneck are the seeds and the flowers, because these flowers are not hard to come by. They're just not as abundant as, these lower level flowers like the blood rose. You can find those everywhere. But for this, you're gonna need 2 very special flowers. One of them is the Highland Lotus, and the other one is the sunflower. Actually, the sunflower is not too bad. So you're gonna need sunflowers and Highland Lotus. And the best way to get these is not by going out in the world and farming them, but making your own farm. And if you want to see a video on how to start your own farm and where to find seeds, check it out. I'll put it at the end of this description. It's really easy to follow. And that's what you're gonna do. I think this is gonna probably be the best way. I don't know. Again, it's a toss-up. It's whatever you want. But this is definitely a fun way. So I won't go super in depth on how to do everything as far as the farming goes, but I will show you really quick where you can find these seeds. Now you can find them in the open world just by, looting and stuff and, collecting stuff, collecting flowers, but you can also go to the trade merchants that are walking around. So just to give you guys a quick look, this is where the trade merchants are. There's 3 of them. Otter the Merchant, Burke the Traveling Trader walks around in this area, and Gavin the Shady Dealer walks around in this area. Now, there's a whole process involved in, talking to and trading with the merchants. So if you haven't done that, or you don't know what I'm talking about, check out my video on how to find them and how to buy stuff from these traders. And as far as which one do you need? Well, you're gonna need the Highland Lotus seeds, and that's from Otter the Merchant. And you're also gonna need the sunflower seeds, and that's from Burke the Traveling Trader, and it's gonna take silver coins. So again, if you need help with how to find these guys and how to trade them, because you're gonna have to have human form, you're gonna have to have silver resistance potions. Like I said before, everything in this game involves, so many different things. There's a lot of moving parts. But again, I have a pretty good video on that, so check it out if you need help finding and trading with these guys. And I'll be putting both of those pictures in the description of the video, so you guys can go check it out and download it yourself. They are pretty handy. All right, so to start this off, you're gonna have to find Goreswine the Ravager. And Goreswine the Ravager, he's gonna give you the tombs. Now, this is another great way to get bones and get a bunch of grave dust, so you can just start spawning in a bunch of these guys, ghouls and skeletons. But we're just gonna kill him to unlock the tomb themselves. And Goreswine the Ravager, he is down here in the southern part of Farbane Woods, over at the Desecrated Graveyard. And then again, you're also gonna need to take out Leandra. Leandra, the Shadow Priestess, and she's going to be dropping or giving you the recipe for the Scourgestone, but also the Skeleton Priest. And when you kill the Skeleton Priest, you can get Scourgestones, bones, and grave dust, all with one mob. And you're basically going to be making a factory, where you just get these guys spawning like a bunch of mob spawners. If you've watched my my video on how to make a bone farm, same exact thing. We're just going to be spawning different creatures using different flowers. That is the only difference. And on top of the Skeleton Priest, you're also going to want to find and kill Faurot the Soultaker. And this guy's level 62, so it's going to be a minute. But they're going to give you the ability to summon Banshees, and Banshees also give you Spectral Dust, Scourgestone, and Grave Dust. So really, valuable mobs to be spawning at your base. This guy's also going to unlock Spectral Dust, which you're going to be using a lot. And you get the Phantom's Veil, which is an excellent cape. I was using this thing for quite a while. So Faurot the Soultaker is way up here in the Cursed Forest. Right there, over at the Ancient Village. And then again, Leandra, she is right up top in the Dunley Farmlands at Church of the Damned. So that's the location for those 2 guys. All right, so you're allowed to have 12 tombs in your castle. And you know what? I never actually went to see if if you get any more than, nope, just 12. So to make the tombs, again, once it's unlocked, all it is stone and bone. Super, super easy. And I just put them all in a row like this. It doesn't really matter. I mean, they're gonna go everywhere. And so we've got our tombs, we've got our Highland Lotus, and we've got our sunflowers. So I'm gonna go grab a bunch of them. And one other thing you're gonna need is gem dust. And I'm gonna show you why. What you're gonna do is you're gonna go up to the tombs, one by one, you're gonna put gem dust and sunflowers in there. And it's gonna create skeleton priests, which can drop Scourgestone, bones, and grave dust. And then in the other tombs, you're gonna put in gem dust and Highland Lotus, which is gonna give you the banshees, which again, they drop spectral dust, Scourgestone, and grave dust. So really, really good mobs. You're just gonna need a bunch of these flowers, and I mean tons and tons, and you're gonna need a lot of gem dust. So if you're wondering how to get a bunch of gem dust, because you're gonna need gem dust for a ton of stuff, check out my gem dust video. I go over step by step and in detail how to get, you know, a bunch of gem dust, and it's gonna come in handy. So once you have all that stuff, actually I'm gonna go grab it and I'll be right back, and I'm gonna show you what this party looks like. All right, so we've got our sunflowers, we've got our Highland Lotuses, and we have our gem dust. So what I'm gonna do is I've got 6 stacks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'll use half of my tombs for the, you know, sunflowers and the other half for the Highland Lotus. And then we're gonna break these up too. And I'm just gonna start dropping these in. I'm gonna pause the video for just a second, and then you guys will see what's happening. It gets pretty crazy pretty quick. I love it. Uh-oh, I miscalculated. And you could separate or cut stuff in half by using the middle mouse button. Makes life a lot easier. And then we just sit back, wait for them to spawn, and just start smashing them. And one of the best ways to kill all these guys, this is my favorite skill in the whole game, Heart Strike. Check this out. Boom. Oh crap. So there you go. Ended up getting about almost 40 Scourgestone, almost 100 Spectral Dust, which is actually really good. So yeah, it works pretty good. Now, you know, you're going to have to come up with a better design than this, where, you know, it would be ideal to have like a corridor with walls all around and kind of like funnel the enemies into a choke point where you could just stand there and, you know, just AoE them all down. Heart Strike works great. You know, it's a lot of fun, but there is definitely a more efficient way to set this up. So if any of you guys have any ideas, let me know in the comments, or maybe, you know, you guys could take a screenshot. I'd like to see what you come up with. But this is a really, really fun way and an easy way to get Scourgestone so that you don't have to really, you know, set up that whole assembly line and farm this and farm that. This is a lot easier if you have the flowers and if you have the gem dust. So remember, check out that gem dust video. Check out the farming video if you have any questions about that. And if you guys have any questions about any of this in general, leave it in the comments. So that's going to do it, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, and you guys all have a great day. Bye-bye.